Okay. All good? Everyone can see it? So this will be actually sent out to you all later tonight when the GROW application is released. But we did just want to give people, especially new members, like an overview of what are some of the projects people have proposed in the past and what are the common projects that have been carried out. So I know all of you are pretty familiar with the annual report. Did any of you want to look more into that, or should we just continue looking through these? If there's any that pique your interest and you want to learn more about what the project was, then we could just focus on that and chat about it because we don't have too much time. Okay. And then Noah, feel free to interject with any thoughts. Okay, so we all know about the annual report. The partnership action framework is something that is also done every year, but this year, as many of you know, we've transitioned into an annual action framework where we'll be assessing like our own chapter's health and also like our partnership's health. And that's something that we'll be sharing more information about over the next month or so. I know, Abby, you were interested in maybe grant writing at some point. This is actually a project that was proposed I think 2 or 3 years ago, but we weren't able to realize it during that time. But it's something to think about. And then a collaborative autoethnography. Noah, if you want to talk about this a little bit, Noah actually proposed to like revitalize this project for this past year, but we were able to.
Yeah, so when I applied last year, I didn't really know that we had one before, but I kind of wanted to like start one up because our main goal was to try to bring things back to chapter just so we have like a solid understanding of what SAW is. And I thought that the best way to do that would be to have the grow interns record what it is that they do every day and like kind of journal it down and maybe like discuss how they've grown as individuals, how they've seen SAW grow with their impact on like a day-to-day basis. So it's a little bit more specific than just coming back and saying, oh, like we do an annual report to like people that don't know what that means. So you can talk about like the little nitty-gritty details about what you do day in and day out. You can kind of show people why it's more important to have this partnership model and why we go for weeks at a time and not just like a week or two and things like that. Also, Maria, I don't know if you saw, but we did get our 2-minute warning like a minute ago. So
gotcha. I think when I share my, I don't think I can see it when I'm sharing my screen is what I've realized, which is probably the issue that I ran into last time. But with the last minute to go, obviously we're a little pressed on time. Were there any thoughts or any projects that you all like have been thinking about and want feedback on?
Yeah, actually what Noah was just talking about, just like kind of like gave me an idea, like maybe a where are they now kind of thing with former members of SAW, like either people who were there several years ago or people who worked with SAW and then moved on to something else. I think that would be really cool. And then they could specifically talk as well about how they saw things change over time with the partnership with GlowMed, because like as we've changed so long, like we get that kind of historical perspective with previous e-boards. Yeah, just not really a very fully formed idea, but just like that was what Noah made me think of.
That's so cool. I think that's awesome because that's also something that I feel like you could work on despite it being like in person or not. Like, okay.
Maria, it is time for us to switch.
Thank you, Noah. Okay. All right, y'all. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Did he say bye? Oh, okay, he said bye. Hi, everyone. I'm Sachika. I was one of the Grow interns in 2019. And yeah, I'm excited for this station. We're going to go through a choose your own adventure with a day in the life of a Grow intern. So feel free. This one is a lot more fun, a lot more interactive than your other sessions. So feel free to turn your mics on. I think I told people to turn them off in the other one, but I meant on. Turn your mics on and just shout out answers as we go. It'll just be like you choosing your activities. But I really just want to give you a picture of what a day would look like when you're on your internship. And even if you're physical, a lot of this will remain the same because the relationships and like the fun stuff that you get to learn throughout, it definitely can be that like learning experience can happen virtually as well. And we've seen it with other chapters. So that's super exciting to like plan for this year. But yeah, okay, cool. Are we ready to get started? Yes? Cool. Our first order of business today on our Grow internship is attending a CHOP workshop. So SAL conducts CHOP workshops for migrant workers in the rural regions outside of Mesot, and they take us in their truck everywhere. So on the right is the bed of their truck. They like have these seats and this awning inserted over it, and they would just throw us in there for like 45 minutes while they drove on the highway to their CHOP workshops, which was really fun. Also really interesting when it's raining. So will you bike it's actually 3 miles. Will you bike 3 miles to SAW compound or sleep in and ask to be picked up in the truck? Someone pick for us.
I'd say bike.
Cool. We are biking to SAW compound. So waking up early has its perks. On your way to SAW compound, you stop at Lucky Tea Shop for chickpeas and roti. Yum. This was like I've never had it, but it was a really popular breakfast food. I don't wake up, so I was the bed. Well, actually, I would always bike, but I do not wake up for food. So this was a really popular option. I recommend asking Matthew or someone, but I think it would be so cool for virtual this summer to like get these recipes and recreate them with each other. So yeah, keep this one in the back of your head because I've heard it's really good. So once arriving at SAW compound, they take you to the CHOP workshop. The SAW hosts hosts community health outreach program CHOP workshops to increase community health knowledge through workshops led by peer educators. And peer educators serve as the link between the community and the needs and goals and abilities of SAW, which creates a model that's both sustainable and adaptable as the needs and concerns of each migrant community changes. So the attendees are primarily women or mothers in the community. So a lot of these communities had like models where there would be like little health groups of like 4 people, and then they would send one like person to this workshop who would get the information and then bring it back to like those 3, 4 little, like it was usually like 2 or 3 families like creating like 4 adults, right? Who would get that knowledge then from the one mom who did go. And a lot of the men, these were like usually hosted on like Saturdays or Sundays. So a lot of the men would be working in the fields, which is why it was primarily women. But yeah, so do you want to play with the kids sitting outside or sit through the workshop and talk to community leaders at the end?
So like sit through the workshop.
Cool. It is exciting to getting to see the peer educators do their thing. It isn't in English, but it's motivating to see a CHOP workshop in action, and it's intriguing to meet members of the community. Something that strikes you is how many of the mothers are actually your age and younger. It's not something you considered before. So this was something we definitely noticed at our first workshop. I felt super uncomfortable sitting in that room, couldn't really figure out why, and ended up playing with the kids most of the time. And then when we went home, kind of like reflecting on it and realized that a lot of the women who were sitting in that room were younger than me. And I was 20 when I went on the internship. So it was just like definitely something that was a little bit jarring and like surprising to realize. And a lot of the moms, like it kind of felt like they were scared of us type feeling. And then I realized it was because we were the same age. And so it's just a really weird, like, I think cultural difference really. A lot of like the older women were like willing to talk to us, the grandmothers who were there, but the moms like seemed a lot more like taken aback. And like because of that, like I think I was also really like surprised and just shy at my first CHOP workshop. So that was a huge like learning realization or whatever. I don't know. It wasn't something we ever learned much more about, but it was super shocking. So after the workshop, you meet the headmaster of this community school. He explains that there are no latrines in the area. The lack of latrines nearby makes nearby the school makes preventable issues like diarrhea more common in this area. So a latrine would cost $200 and would make school a better experience. So the picture on the bottom is this community schoolhouse. It was very recently built, so they were really excited about that. And then the one on the right is the schoolmaster's house. And I believe before they had the schoolhouse, he must have taught inside there. But yeah, it was the headmaster, I'm pretty sure is the guy on the far right. He looks super familiar. I'm pretty sure that's why I know who he is. But it was really cool. He had this like wagon thing and he would pick up all the kids because these are migrant workers, like they're working on the farm, so they're pretty spread out even though they're in the same region. So he would like take this kind of like wagon thing attached to his motorcycle and he'd like go and pick up all the kids and like bring them to school, and then they would have school, and then he'd like go drop them off. So it was really cute to see that. But he was, I don't know, he was really excited when he was telling us about his wagon thing. I don't know if it was a wagon. I don't really remember, but don't have a picture of it. But that was cool. Okay. This is probably going to be our last one, but on the ride back from workshops and Pra, there are waterfalls, hot springs, and plenty of opportunities to buy ice cream. Linda, one of the staff members who often comes on CHOP workshops, asked if you want to see the waterfalls or hot springs today. So what do we want?
I want to see the waterfalls.
Cool. Mesa waterfalls never disappoint. The only thing that can make this day better is some ice cream. So the left waterfall, the left and the right, the two waterfalls pictured are like two of the really common waterfalls in the Pra area that people generally visit. And it was really cool. Cool. We'll do one more. I think we have time. So after your morning adventure, SAW drops you off at SAW compound. The morning is over, but there's lots left to do. You have to work on your projects, and you have an English practice session with SAW students after dinner. So do you want to work on the annual report at SAW or push it off to spend time with kids at
I'd say definitely play.
SAW? Sounds good. And the best part of being at SAW compound is that you can always find a friend to play with. So what do we want to do? Oh, we're switching rooms. So never mind, but thank you guys so much for your time, and you will get these slides later. So definitely encourage, there's a lot more different decisions to make throughout the day. So, if you're ever bored or you want to learn more, I encourage you to click through this because it's fun. Okay, it was nice to meet you all. Bye.